Yeah, Mel, let's talk about last week's weather for another moment here. Whether it was the blinding snow and the wind to the east or frigid cold temperatures here in Toronto, last week's bomb cyclone made its presence known. Imagine, though, being on board a cruise ship in the eye of the storm. That was the fate of more than 4,000 passengers on board the Norwegian Breakaway. For 48 hours, they endured heavy swells and passageways soaked with seawater. Passengers are questioning why the captain chose to sail directly into the storm, and some are even demanding compensation. And so far, not much of an apology from Norwegian Cruise Lines. Ishan and Kelly Byrd were on that cruise and join us now back safe and sound and on dry ground in their Oakville home this morning. Good morning to the two of you. Have you stopped swaying back and forth right now?
We're starting to finally catching up.
I'm still experiencing some of that this morning.
So, okay, Ishan, I want to get right to some video that you shot at 3 o'clock in the morning. What were you doing up at 3 o'clock in the morning?
I couldn't sleep. The boat was rocking violently, but that night it started really getting bad, and I slept in my clothes. I didn't want to sleep. The kids were sleeping, and I was kind of worried about them. We didn't know what the next step was because they didn't make any announcement. So I decided at 3 o'clock, I was kind of getting bored at this time, and I said I should just take a walk around the ship. And that's when my friend and I just started walking around and seeing the devastation that they'd already done. And apparently we were late. They'd done some significant cleanup.
Kelly, this was not a couple of hours, was it?
Oh, this went on what felt like an eternity. It was 48 hours at its worst, but it was actually 3 full days.
Wow.
And it was horrific.
So now,
yes.
what you you say though that there has not been really any sort of an apology. In fact, this is the only thing that we've gotten from Norwegian Cruise Lines. They basically say that, yes, there was an incident. I think we have that on the board right now. So during the early morning hours of January 4th, Norwegian Breakaway encountered stronger than forecasted weather conditions due to Winter Storm Grayson during the trip's return to New York from the Bahamas. But you have not yourself gotten an apology or any compensation other than, I'm told, $23.
Yeah, $23 for that they compensated for the private island that they cut short for us. And they didn't even announce it. We were kind of questioning what the $23 credit was for because we didn't realize it, and that's when we were told that it was for that they cut the trip short. But that's it. No acknowledgement. They didn't even acknowledge on the intercom when we got back to New York, apologizing, saying sorry for the bumpy ride. We would have appreciated that even, but there was no acknowledgement at all. Disappointing.
So Kelly, when sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say, even when they had evacuated us off the private island of Norwegian, there was no explanation on why. I mean, we could see that the waters were a little rocky, and we assumed it was because they were maybe afraid of people drowning that were going to try to get into the water, but there was no explanation on why we were being evacuated, and for the next 48 hours or so, still nothing.
Would you take the cruise again?
We will take probably a cruise again.
Not that one.
Not that one. All right. All right. Thank you very much for sharing your home with us this morning. We're glad to see you back safe and sound.
Thank you so much.
Ishan and Kelly Byrd talking to us from their home in Oakville this morning.